All right. We are back once more, this time for the Acolyte. And I have to say, before we get really, going into this, let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here back with you guys to cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Star Wars The Acolyte. And based upon what we were seeing last week, I have reservations. I'll just say that much about what to expect this week, what we can look forward to at all. Because last week there was so many moments that ultimately should have been more fulfilling. They should have been more over the top. They should have been better paid off. They should have been better written. And the longer and longer you go down this list of what this show could have been and what this show was intended to be, you get more into the no man's land of hoping, pretending, and praying that this episode was going to be so well put together that it's going to fix everything that happened last week. And last week was just it was just a dumpster fire. I don't really know how to maturely almost address it even, because to an extent this series had no limitations, no regulations, no restraints, and it had twice the budget Kenobi had. All great things. That's exactly what Star Wars fans have wanted. We didn't want another continuation of the Skywalker saga. We've had 9 movies to cover that. We didn't need something that was inside of the Mandoverse because that is getting very, very well fleshed out as it is. Sure, the last season was definitely not as good as the originals for it, but I digress. I would take season 3 of Mandalorian over one episode of this any day of the week. But now, with where we're currently at with things, in a world that's very open, it's called the galaxy far, far away. The Star Wars galaxy is known for diversity, inclusion, aliens of all different kinds and races, people of all different colors, people of different ethnicities, lightsabers of different colors and variations, aliens of different colors and variations, monsters of different colors and variations. For a show to literally say that this is what diversity is supposed to 100% represent, I don't think diversity wanted to be represented in a way that sucked. I'm just going to be that guy. When a show is written, it says diversity is what we're doing here. Diversity doesn't want to suck. And the Acolyte definitely sucked last week. There was little to write home about in terms of the story. All the intrigue and interesting characters, you literally had their story start and finish 2 episodes. There's 8 episodes here, man. Full seasons could have been covered of you trying to explain and explore or deep dive or delve into this whole twin sister thing. You rushed it and poorly explained something that didn't necessarily need to be explored this early on. The sister plotline could have been 6 or 7 or 8 episodes long and had an actual payoff, had an actual moment in time where things panned out well because you took the time. Hear me out here. Took the time to develop these characters and make us as fans care about these characters. I don't know how much I could possibly care about a character in 2 episodes. Just gonna be blunt here. That is literally an hour's worth of television. What character can you show me for 1 hour that I'm going to get deeply, deeply emotionally invested into, to where my whole life is going to be wrapped around this character and my care for this character. And this character, while representing diversity, is supposed to be beautifully told and well done, but just wasn't. This was bland. This was listless. This was uninspiring. The costumes, your environment, look cool. Looks like you spent the money well. Why didn't you hire a writer? You forget? I mean, writers are kind of important here. I think we were all asking for the same thing after The Mandalorian season 3 was to get good writers on Star Wars. We have cool weapons, we have cool armor, we have a cool galaxy. Why can't our characters be told in an effective and great and intelligent manner? That's what we want. Notice how nothing brought up, even remotely covered anything pertaining to race, diversity, or anti inclusion. Not a thing. Good story, well developed plot, something with an actual payoff. That is what we want. How you get that to us, you could have given us a cool, unique, one of a kind character who is able to blend into the Star Wars universe and just be who they are and just be awesome. And we would enjoy that thoroughly. Mando, no one cared whatsoever who was under the mask. Could have been anyone. Notice no one ever talks about Pedro as a diverse character or diverse casting. Not a person. You know why? Mando, Din Djarin, one of the best written characters Star Wars has seen. Intrigue, mystery, dynamics, dark backstory, trying to do better for himself in his future, and then trying to help out and be the cool, Baby Yoda dad that we've all wanted him to be. Sure, Baby Yoda taking up way too much of the story in one person's opinion, but at the same time, certain things need to give. Certain things needed to improve. The Mandalorian improved on many, many things we were struggling with in the Star Wars universe. Imagine where we were literally when the story began. Literally, all we had was the sequels. That was it. And then this metal bucketed hero shows up. And next thing we know, we're getting swept away in a great story, and we're all saying the exact same thing. Star Wars is back, baby. And then we move on to the next show. Star Wars still on the way back. And then Disney started making some bold choices. Book of Boba Fett, it wasn't it. That was Mandalorian season 2.5. And not even a good Mandalorian season 2.5. Honestly, Mando should have been away from Baby Yoda for at least a full season. It would have made that pivotal moment when they got back together as a father and son duo, or father and whatever Grogu is duo, that much more impactful. It would have had that tension, that drama, the sense of theatrics that you're looking for in Star Wars. Instead, Book of Boba Fett was what it was. Andor, phenomenal show. Loved it. Obi-Wan, I don't think they gave it the budget they should have. Then we decided to make it about not Obi-Wan. Like Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen were why we were there. You could have slapped those two's name up on just about any project. I'm watching. My childhood, the first movie of Star Wars I was able to see for myself in theaters was The Phantom Menace. The Phantom Menace, while not one of the greatest movies ever made, holds a special place in my heart because it was one of those films you got to see and experience in theaters. Because of that, Hayden and Obi-Wan hold that special place as my Obi-Wan and as my Anakin, albeit as the many character flaws that I found with Darth Vader. But it grows on you. It shows the diversity of the man versus the machine, and in time, you're able to better articulate and speak as to why these people are who they are. The Clone Wars, by one hero of ours, Dave Filoni, was able to retcon and help write things in a correct manner that address so many things, not just from like a child's eye point of view, but to an adult Star Wars fan point of view, where you could literally look at the Star Wars product again and be like, this is it. This is back. This is what we wanted. This is what we needed. This is what we wanted the originals to build upon. This is our foundation for success. And then we keep taking steps back with shows like The Acolyte. I am all for inclusion. I am all for diversity. But when it's done correctly, that's when it gels well. This show sometimes just ain't it. But speaking of the person who can make things better, Will, how we doing? You looking forward to watching my childhood get kicked in the nuts again?
As much as I want to say yes, no, I'm really not. Like, there should be no reason for being at this stage in the game for Star Wars. However many years it's been, what, 1970s, whatever, right? Something
Early 70s.
like this should be. It got so much to pull from, so much to. It's like you got to have people that are
There were no
invested in this.
handcuffs. None. Literally none. It was a
Uh,
new time period. There were new characters. There was 100 years of space between everything that happened. You had a whole galaxy far, far away with cool monsters, diverse characters, awesome armor sets, cool lightsabers. And then every interesting thing you could have done, you gave to us in 2 episodes of some of the most sloppily written and poorly created content out there. And I just got to say to the writer of this show, you should be fired immediately. So the fact you're out here speaking about, and we shared it on the Geek Variants page on Facebook, that she wants to create a Knights of the Old Republic TV show. And just so we're all clear, you ain't it, Chief. I would take so many people over you. It's not even funny. I would rather direct it and I would butcher it. I know Star Wars, but I have no directing chops. Let's just put that completely to rest. Knights of the Old Republic is one of the greatest RPGs that has ever been made. To Star Wars fans, that's life. That is like our holy book that you do not come in and touch and mess up. And for her, after this, to be the person who wants to create it, ooh, that is the biggest no for me, dog. I'm so far out and so much in my feelings about that. It's ridiculous for a grown man to be this passionate about a child's product, but this is my childhood. They're literally dragging it through the streets, Game of Thrones style, and I have to stand there with the bell and yell shame at it as it walks by me, being paraded in all of its unjust glory. Like, why are they doing this, man? Why are they hurting me like this right here, right now?
I mean, look, I would say feel free. I mean, Marvel ain't got the best things going on.
After
Um,
X-Men 97, they're back
but
on their high, baby.
they
Deadpool coming
got
up.
they got some stuff, like they're able to pull it back and forth. So I'm hoping that this is a similar fashion where this is the hiccup, and the next show or movie or whatever they get it sorted out. Like,
Because Andor season 2 is the next thing on the slate. There's a rumor it will be late August, maybe early September. And Andor season 1 was a banger. There was nothing about that show where I was like, you know what, this sucks.
Andor
Sure,
was great.
everyone was like, well, there's definitely undertones of what's going on in today's society. Okay. And The Boys is something that's not political satire, at least at some point. Like, come on. People draw from what knowledge pool they have and what is going on currently in the world. That's why the X-Men was the X-Men back in the day. They were talking about the struggles and the reality of the situations that were going on pertaining to their day and age, and doing so in a very, what many would consider, aggressive tone. And it worked. And it's
Oh, very
become
well.
one of the most timely comics of all time. It just is what it is. And just so everyone's aware, we will be covering so much content over the next month and a half. It's going to be ridiculous. Between the Acolyte, on Thursday we have The Boys. Saturday morning we have My Hero Academia live stream. We'll be tackling Kaiju number 8 in the morning, continuing his usual Monster Fest, Monster of Mayhem. And then Sundays will be a double stream day. Sundays will be double stream day between Demon Slayer, which has 3 episodes left already, which feels a little short. And then we have House of the Dragons starting up once more, which for all you Game of Thrones fans like myself, you will enjoy very, very much. The people who have seen episode 1 are saying it is one of the best they have written. One of the episodes is apparently going to have almost a 2-episode long battle, which it seems really akin to Rings of Power. People seem to realize we're here for the big battles. And if it's well written, I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that works for any genre of things. If you have something that's kind of big, drawn out, a lot of high stakes and stuff, like people are going to get invested. But you got to get them in early on for them to be invested all the way up through. Like even with Destiny, Destiny just dropped some new content. So at that, there's a big battle in it. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played it, but there's a big battle in it. And I did not think they were going to do something to this scale, what they did, but it was great. It was a great kind of little send off for that part. So I'm happy with it. So if we get the same thing in some of these shows, look at that where we got these big battles and you take them across 2-3 episodes, but you again you stair step us into it. It's got to be fantastic. Like you're gonna have us on the edge of our seat from the first part, waiting to get to the last part just to see how it resolves. So I'm with it.
Yeah, and there's going to be so much good content just coming your guys' way. It's going to be a fun, wild ride between now and moving forward. Because even later on this month, there's so much content coming out. I almost forgot DC is having their own Isekai version of Suicide Squad dropping, which is supposed to drop, I believe, on the 27th. So that's going to be another thing that we'll be covering for you. Hopefully, we can get our Dark Lord of DC, Tony himself, in to cover everything going on because it's fun putting him into an anime world within his own wheelhouse. Like that's going to be something.
It's gonna be fun. Like I just
A
want
fish
to
out of water for him. But at the same time, always good content. It's always great hanging out with you, lovely experience. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below about things that are ongoing, things that we may have missed, shows we could have missed, because there is so much content coming between the Acolyte, which right now, not really good content. There's not much really to be said about it. I think the short I posted today on the YouTube channel says exactly how I feel as maturely as I can say it. And The Boys, dropping Thursday, 3-episode premiere. That's going to be keeping me afloat with all my dark humor that I can possibly handle. And then we have a lot of great stuff over the weekend. 4 different shows covered by yours truly, Geek Variant. Having said, we're still about 5 minutes out. Do you think there's anything they can do to fix the damage they've done in these first 2 episodes?
I mean, there's always a chance that they can fix some stuff. I don't know what they're going to fix exactly in terms of like, well, I don't know what they can do. They need to fix. Of course, it's the same kind of trope with the master who's, like
in the shadow.
Like you got the master in the shadows for the bad guy, always kind of like hidden till like the end, and it's like, oh, here I am, kind of okay, standard trope. You got the master on the good side, who's kind of, for lack of a better term, love stricken over their pupil. Like they love them so much, they want to take care of them. They want to make sure they're good, they're all right. Freaking, it breaks them to have to go and hear they did something wrong or whatever, and it's the same old stuff where it's probably gonna get to a point where I feel so bad. I'm sorry that you're having to go through this, whatever, and they're not paying attention and they're gonna get themselves killed. And then now the Padawan or whoever the one is has gotta step up to the plate and start handling business. And honestly, I'm tired of it. Can we get some differences? Can I have like I can't stand you. I can't stand you either. Why do I gotta train you? Like give me something different that kind of sets the tone, but it's kind of like the same old thing. We keep seeing it, and they stay good and kind of go whatever, or they go bad and go on the other side. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's like there's a lot to break down. I kind of feel bad for the actor who's playing Soul. He's trying to do his best, but the script just isn't it. I recently learned he spent 4 months learning English because he wanted this role that badly. I never would have guessed. everything comes through so fluently. But at the same time, I think this script is really just letting him down in general. Like, I don't care how good of an actress you are. If your dialogue is written poorly, good luck.
Yeah. Look, I'm not giving shame to any of the actors in here. Like everybody's doing a fantastic job for what they can do with what they have to work with. Like it is what it is. But the writing is off. The creator, I
Clearly
don't know.
had other
I don't know.
attentions to the wrong detail that I can't quantify why someone would want to purposefully and meaningfully shoot themselves in the foot right out of the gate. But hey, that's what it is, and Star Wars fans are riled up. Would be the PG way of saying it. There is no love in it for what is going on here. So if you're like newer to Star Wars and you're just seeing, products like this, it's got to be tough. Because I mean, I at least have a wide variety of stuff I can choose from and pull from that made Star Wars great. For new fans like you started with Mando,
Yeah, pretty much.
and it's been just a roller coaster ride of this is great, this sucks, this is great, this sucks, and then the inconsistencies in the power scaling, the inconsistencies in the moves and their usages, the inconsistency of building up what their guilt is supposedly going to be. Because right now it needs to be like the most heinous thing that's ever happened in the history of heinous. But for whatever reason, you know, we have Jedi's who are literally choosing to end it all because it's easier than dealing with the ghosts of their guilt. It's like,
Yeah, that still got me thrown for a loop. Like really, I I feel bad. Drink like really. This is how a Jedi Master who's been meditating for like 10 years, I guess, or whatever, who's supposed to be like the best. He can completely defend himself within a force shield with no problem. Well, sleep like knocked out. I'm just gonna wake up and drink poison because I feel bad when I wake up. Like,
it just doesn't make sense. I just want the show to make sense at some regard. Episode 3 Destiny has just dropped. So we're going to go ahead and get that episode started. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. New actress, new character. Start of episode 3 stuff.
I'm not excited at all.
Welcome to my hell.
I don't need a recap. Mhm.
Skipping.
I need a
all the way-
redo. That's what I need.
Look at you. On that quick draw. We're on planet of Brendok. 16 years earlier. Are we just going to be time skipping?
Yeah, well, I gotta find out what happened to the little girl or the little girls, the twins, I guess, or sisters or whatever they are.
Ooh, they had a magic tree too. Who doesn't have a magic tree in their universe anymore? I can feel it close to the force here, probably. Let's discuss. I think it's cool looking, whatever it is. What minute mark are you at? Just so I'm not talking ahead of you.
209.
Okay, we're basically in sync. I'm like 5 seconds ahead of you. Like, I just feel like they could have done something a little differently with their hair. I don't think they just assumed that they had the same hair their whole life for 16 years. So I want to go kill things.
Hmm.
This kid's got issues. Because you know what they say about serial killers? You start with bugs, work your way up.
I never understood why freaking you know, people always make twins dress alike, like that was gonna dress the same.
Because if you've ever met twins in real life, they always dress differently and act differently because they want to get don't want to get mistaken for the other twin because they want to have their own sense of own sense of individuality. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I met three different sets of twins. They did not want to be thought of as the other. Period. Hmm.
You look like you're not safe. That's what you look like.
She is very cool looking to see live action.
She looks like what does she remind me of Darth Maul?
Yeah, the Zabrak.
That's what she. That's
Skip
what.
Zabrak or Dathomirian.
All
It's
right.
one or the other. Zabrak are the male, Dathomirian are the women.
I skipped the intro. Well,
Same. I didn't need to see what soul was lingering around for.
it looked like he's about to steal him or something. Like, oh, she's force
Jedi
sensitive.
do steal children, so like, it's not outside the question.
I mean, I've
This is
seen them
a nice little
steal
place to live.
in the face, like freaking, like, hey, your child's good. I need your child. Give me your child. Come on, make you feel bad. Give me your child. Okay, cool.
So their mom's definitely gonna die.
Uh,
Yeah, let's spoil the girl who wanted to strangle a butterfly. That's good.
so like Coral's trying to, keep him in line or whatever, and Mother just lets them do what they want. Maybe I don't know.
So they're romantically involved.
So one parent figure undermining the other does not bode well. There you go. Call her out.
Let's co-parent together. That's what's happening here. Your kids are weird. And just walks away. I don't know what parent's gonna sit there and be like, "Excuse me."
Yeah, I mean, I'm all about freaking, kids test their boundaries. Yeah, you let them test their boundaries, but there's certain things you got to be like, yo, nah.
A strong hand is necessary in learning life lessons at times. Because right now they're making a very interesting change. See what happens. I'll speak on it once we get in the recap point. I want to at least give them their fair shake.
So are they referring to the Force, but saying it's something else?
Yes. Which is literally just, cool, we renamed something. It's still the Force, regardless of how you perceive it. Mm.
I feel like that's going to come back at some point. They got to team up and do the power of two thing.
The double Kamehameha. Kamehameha.
Yeah, firm hand.
Learn your lesson. They seem to be responding well to the firm hand. Only one of them is trying. Soul has made his appearance, probably.
As you hear a distant creaking, like it just got silent enough for you to hear that one creak. It's like something's wrong. So is that what the spiral thing is? Like a witch mark or something?
I think that's what they're trying to go with, but I don't remember seeing it anywhere else before. So they could be trying to rewrite something in. Because people are going to be like, oh, yeah, they're trying to make the Dathomirian sisters black, which I don't think that's necessarily the statement that they're making. But at the same time, like, I don't particularly care. Like, the Dathomirian women have always been their own unique race. Saying that they can be multifaceted does not damage the product. How they do it could damage the product. If this is done correctly, it's not going to damage things. But if it's done poorly, this is a retcon that would have been unnecessary.
Hmm.
And you can't really work together if one is from the light and one is from the dark.
Hmm.
It's not like batteries where the opposites attract.
Okay. So what other abilities do they have? If they're just using the force like any other force user.
I think they have a force dyad or connection that makes them able to amplify their powers when they're together with one another. And they thought we wouldn't notice the fact that there were twin moons in the background. They have twins here, try and do some symbolism stuff,
Hmm.
but they should be able to connect intrinsically to the point they almost read each other's every thought.
Hmm.
What they should be trying to get at. It's like when you and your sibling are close, and sometimes you can just look at the other person, know exactly what they're going to do or what they're going to say. It's that, but amplified, and you have magic powers on top of it.
Hmm. Because you're a conformist.
You just want to stay the same way every day and don't want to ever change. But in this society of witches, I guess the change is necessary. But I think the Jedi are going to come here and muck this all up and cause the massacre of her whole family.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe they're hunting the witches and like they want to. The witches are considered a threat at this point in time or something like that. So they want to take them out.
The witches are naturally threats to the Jedi, so yes. But at the same time, for them to be out here will be interesting. I don't know how to necessarily feel or explain what's like how you're going to paint this as like something the Jedi feel deeply remorseful of. Did we spend our whole budget on your outfit? Feel like we might have. Looks cool though. Looks really cool. It's like the sets, the props, and the designs have been really nice. Because it is.
Mm-hmm.
Are they trying to say this is like Anakin's birth, where there was no actual male figure present to make this happen?
I don't know.
Yeah, because one's definitely ready, and the other one's like, "What is happening right now?" Like Osha ain't with it. May's like, "Let's go." Now the two moons are becoming one in the background, so it's going to be like this magical moment, kind of like in Hercules when all the planets aligned.
Mm-hmm. Haunting music continues. This feels like one of those old freaking musicals. Like from
Yeah. And then we're gonna get to the other sister, and she's like, which is probably why Soul's like, she died. Because she was just evil.
So she's getting the mark.
Yeah. It's a cool little mark thing. It looks like what Game of Thrones was initially trying to do when they had all the bodies drawn out in a weird circle.
It's like you missed though. Why you put it in the center of my head, like yours? Why is off the side? Oh, her name is Verosha.
Come on. Don't disappoint the family. Join the family business.
Nope.
Yeah, she ain't ready for it. What, not everyone was invited to the little ceremony thing? Because all of them are gonna get got. I mean, they should be about that violence.
Okay.
Because there's that guy that poisoned himself. The other one is already dead. We just met the Wookiee in episode 2 at the end. And Soul.
Has he got a shaved head?
Can't really tell. Calling me shocked. And someone just needs to grab one of them kids by the back of the head and be like, no, no, no. Stop getting involved. They're going to complicate these matters. Like, excuse me? No, you already saw them. It's too late for that. And what was supposed to be a peaceful situation is going to turn rather quickly. Because the Jedi's motivations as cops is about to get clearly fleshed out. The whole plan is going sideways.
I mean, it wasn't a good plan.
Let's give the most dangerous weapon in the galaxy to a child. And it's a flat out lie that they don't take children. They say they ask, but it's persuasion. Little silver tonguing going a long way here. I probably become a mute after that too. Why wouldn't you just leave the planet at this point? If your whole thing's secrecy, just dip.
Coral about that life. I'm curious.
Oh, you were just hanging out here in the back? What's up? Yeah, deliberately failed. How would you know that? If you've grown up in exile, who would have told you this information? One dreamed of the galaxy, one wanted to stay at home. Twins. The same but different. No one's keeping an eye on, like, there we go, they're turning. Thank goodness. I say, like, these are the most important things you've ever done. Why is there not a whole entourage just being like poking around their kids? I think he does have a shaved head in a sense because he's pulling out the rest of it. Definitely an interesting perspective for a Wookiee. Definitely. Torben's talking. This was 16 years ago, so something 6 years after this, he decided not worth talking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing Qui Gon did to Anakin. So everybody be lying. Seems like a real good guy trope.
Mm-hmm.
I say episode 3 is much better than episode 1 and 2, but it's not saying much.
It's a setup. We got to see how the present day goes, which will probably be back 2 and 4.
Yeah. Emphasizing where the order was before it fell.
I'm guessing they take her, and when they take her, they
It
drop
starts a
some
whole.
bombs on that planet.
I mean, or have this stand to pass, and it's an all-out bloodbath, and we just assume in the chaos that May goes missing. No, she lied. Well, tell the truth.
Yep.
He's like, I have no idea what you're saying, man.
There better not be any Wookiee deaths in this freaking show. I'm be mad.
I mean, he was next in episode 2 that they were trying to run into, so we'll see. Moms also need to let their kids be as they are. So, like, as a sibling, you're like, no, you need to do what everyone else is doing. But I think she's just trying to get to the heart of what this is all about. That is a crazy decision to make from a child's eye perspective. Under the age of 10, saying you don't want to be with your family at all anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but I try to look at what type of life did she have there. That's what it seems like she was constantly forced to be in sync with her sister, freaking follow the witch's coven, so that like she was already decided to be a witch upon her creation.
And Coral's not going to take this. I almost guarantee it. And that's
No,
what's going to lead to
Coral's gonna be the one that starts the fight.
And I don't blame her for it whatsoever. I don't feel any kind of way about it. If you had to raise a child from inside of your womb for 9 months and then put them out in the world, I think you can definitely have a freaking say on whatever you want to do with that child. So for the other lady to be like, I made this kid, like, well, I raised it and nurtured it.
So the Jedi are gonna come looking and probably burn the place to the ground, or she burns the place to the ground.
Yeah, something wrong with this kid. I love my siblings so much. I'm gonna end them. What? The fact that no one went looking for what was going on.
Like a laundry sheet or something. What is this?
I don't know. It's a little too convenient. And the witches are being attacked upstairs, so something's going horrifically wrong.
So how why is it that they attacked? Did they sense May doing what she's doing, and they come in to freaking to fight for Osha? Did the witches start the war because like we got to convene? Was that code for you go to your room? We're finna go fight them, and now you can't go nowhere. Like
I don't know. Gonna use the force to catch the other one? Are we just selectively picking and choosing when the force applies? Right, who killed them? It's not as bad as episode 1 and 2, Fabian. It's not as bad as episode 1 and 2. There's some stuff to build on, but there's still some devoid of logic moment as a Star Wars fan where you will be shaking your head. And there's a couple questions that just need to be desperately answered.
yeah, it's the backstory is kind of filling the gaps with some of the stuff we heard earlier, and I
I say we
think
still
that
have another couple minutes.
episode 4 should do something.
Because they should have released 3 episodes at once if this was going to be episode 3. People would be saying things a little bit kinder. I can see what they were trying to tell. Oh yeah, see that kid's all messed up on his face. Torben.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Did they make May start the fire?
that would be heinous.
I mean, something heinous enough for you to drink poison and kill yourself over?
Potentially. Because I think that fire was nowhere big enough to have everyone be laying dead on there with all the rocks on them the way that they were.
The fire
There's
was
no
put there and accelerated for the door. And so at that,
the rest of the building, no.
the rest of the building being on fire and collapsing and stuff like that, that was a chain reaction started elsewhere. It was not from that door. There's no
The
way,
witches
not
were
that quickly.
screaming that
Yeah.
something went wrong. Until 16 years from now, you'll feel this again, but worse, says Maul. Oh my gosh. Soul. That's the soul. And the one kid survived and is staring at the tree. It'd be cool if they'd included the shot of the master at this point. Significantly better than the first 2 episodes. Is it still something to necessarily write home about? Not not in my mind, but we're getting there. I still don't get why this wasn't a 3-episode launch.
I think that would have helped it.
It would have made the viewers feel a little bit better that there was at least a sense of direction, that something important was looming, that something was going to, in fact, happen. So now that we're in the recap stages of the episode, things Could have been worse. There's still some logical fallacies and some big questions now that we actually have pertaining to next week's episode. So I can actually look forward to next week's episode as opposed to dreading. I was dreading this episode. I mean,
I mean,
there's not a
I
lot to
think
look forward to.
the writers are definitely freaking helped it along because you got freaking episode one, which was written by the creator freaking Leslie, and she also directed episode one, which again it was crap. Episode two was written by what Jason McAuliffe and Charmaine the Great. This episode was written by Jasmine Flournoy and Eileen Shim.
And they did a much better job.
So I'm just wondering like how much in connection with everyone is talking because it looks like again there's not a lot of cohesion. I think like the Jason McAuliffe, I think he writes 3 episodes, 2, 6, and 8. Whereas Jasmine Flournoy, she writes freaking, this one and 7. So it's just like, are we gonna get bits and pieces? Are the writers helping it along? So that freaking I mean the director of course still has influence on what's happening mid, you know, filming rewrites or whatever. Like
There's you always want to be hopeful and optimistic going into this. As people who create content online, it's so much easier to talk about things that are good and interesting and can be at times divisive because certain times say will like certain things about Marvel that I just can't stand, and it's like I think this was poorly written and you feel the exact opposite. And then there will be other times where I'm like, hey, I'm totally all about what's going on here in this Lord of the Rings thing, and you wouldn't want to give it the time of day. This show, unfortunately, has had people in unison saying that it was bad, it was
boy,
poorly written, it was indecisive, the characters weren't cohesively written. But then we get an episode like this where each character actually seemed to have some level of nuance to them. So at a certain point, it might just come down to these writers. We just need to have one writer, one director for everything. Because whoever did episode 3, good job.
I,
You
I,
you fixed this for me
I don't
right now.
mind. I don't mind having multiple writers and stuff like that. Freaking, it's been shown to work with like
Game of
mental,
Thrones.
freaking is done stuff. But there's got to be some more. Like, are they talking between episodes? Are they like sharing? Like, okay, this is what I want to do in episode one. Oh, well, I'm writing episode 3 and so that, and I want to do this. Like, freaking, how can we make it to where this flows together and syncs up better? And it feels more natural versus something that's shoehorned in because oh I want this in here but you need to make it fit. I don't care if it has anything to do with the story, like it needs to go in there. I want to either push my agenda or freaking push whatever. So it's like no, I want to have a purple lightsaber in here because this is what needs to freaking happen. Well, only Mace has a purple lightsaber. So, no, I want this person to have a purple one, even though they've had like a green one for 2 episodes. I don't know. It's just random crap that I just don't think makes any sense. And I would like for the next episode to pick up the pace because this was set in the past. All right. So this is a standalone in itself for what's going on in the past. Different direction, different kind of setup or whatever. Now that we know why, or like we don't even know fully what happened exactly. We got pieces why. That's what I actually like about this. We don't have the full story. We still got to watch to get the full story. We now know pieces why stuff is happening, why things are kind of going down. When we get into episode 4, are we going to start getting more of okay, tell me the truth about what happened that day? This is what I remember. This is what you know. What happened? How did this go? Tell me the truth. Spit it out. Like I'm an adult now. Spit it out. And then I think she's going to end up having to have a one-on-one with her sister. Like you were outside, I was inside. They're not telling me. I need you to tell me. Or we have that mind meld kind of thing where I read your thoughts and I can see your memories or some crap, and now I know what truly happened that day, and I can turn like, so you killed my mother. Like I don't know, like so you gotta give me something. Like I can
We need to have
speculate all
some
day, but
more
gotta work it.
diverse changes and some more correct and necessary changes. But this episode was a step in the correct direction, albeit this episode should have been episode 1. If this had been the first episode, episode 1 and 2 would have made more sense. Because you left us with a mystery, you left it with openness, you left it with uniqueness. So we would have had context clues to these characters and then kind of see how things would have progressed from there. Albeit it would have still taken a hit on the story overall because there were irredeemable qualities in episode 1, and episode 2 didn't do much to help what was going on. So this should have been the opener that got everyone's hopes really up. And then he should have brought us down 2 pegs with the next 2 episodes. And then episode 4, ideally, would be something we can all gravitate towards and really as a group in some sense, because it's hard to get Star Wars fans intrinsically on the same page and liking all the same things. It's just not possible, I think, in today's day and age. But closer to at least agreeing that, hey, the show is attempting to do something here. And I'm hoping it pays off for them. I really am. I would rather be talking about a product that's good than sitting here and watching, all those episodes of Titans that we did, which was one of the most painful series we've ever had to cover on this channel, and I would not want to go through it again.
Well, freaking, you put me through it. I was not happy about that. Oh god, I was not happy about that.
I did not schedule that trip. It just came up. There's not much I can say.
That was the worst freaking review set that I had to do. Was power through, like what was that, like 10 episodes or something like that? Just so I could watch the finale. No.
Yeah, but that's enough about that. We'll make our full review episode of the Acolyte here shortly. If you're not subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so or hit that lovely follow button on Twitch if you're on over there. Both are free. Both greatly help the channel out. Let us know what kind of style of content you like. We have Fallout live streams going on. We have Star Wars The Acolyte. We got 3 episodes of The Boys coming up on Thursday. And then Saturday and Sunday are both double headers with My Hero Academia, Kaiju number 8, Demon Slayer, and the return of House of the Dragons Season 2. Tons of great contents for coming for you, the viewer. I've been Brett for Geek Variants, and with my boy Will for Geek Variants. We'll see you in the episode breakdown.